Well, my name's John Cruz. I was raised on Oahu. Come from a family of musicians. My dad was a singer. My mom was a singer. All my brothers and sisters, most of them, I have 4 brothers and 7 sisters, and most of them sing, play music. Just music was something that just happened around the house all the time. I never realized that. I thought everybody played music at home, and everybody had songs in their heads and stuff, but I guess it's not the case. As I got older and learned more about people and different cultures and stuff, I realized that I was special growing up in my family and also growing up in Hawaii, because in Hawaii, music is very much a part of the culture. You have a little party at home. Somebody's always has an ukulele in the closet, or in the other room. They go get it, and everybody shares music. I realized when I moved to the East Coast that that wasn't the case with most people, because they'll get together and barbecue. Whereas we get together and barbecue, eventually the guitars and the ukuleles are going to come out. And so yeah, music has always been a huge part of my life. Still is. What's interesting is that growing up, my dad sang country music, country western. So I grew up with a lot of that around the house, as well as my mom was really into Motown, and top 40. We always listened to Casey Kasem Top 40 radio, and so as far as my own house in particular, we didn't have Hawaiian music, traditional Hawaiian music, at our house all the time playing. We had more pop, country, stuff like that going on. I always heard it, at other people's houses and at parties and stuff, and I had other people in my family, cousins and stuff, who were more into hula and Hawaiian music, but it was something that we always my family, when we got together at big family gatherings, we'd have the family cousins who would be like the hula dancers. We had the cousins who would, take care of cooking the food, and cousins who played Hawaiian music, and we were always the cousins that played the popular music, like Jackson 5 and, just stuff like that. And like I said, my mom was really into Motown, so Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin, all of that was really very influential for me at an early age. So after I graduated high school, I went to University of Hawaii for a few years, and then I transferred to Massachusetts. I went to school on the East Coast for, I was up there total for about 13 years, lived in New York City, was pursuing my musical career, and played some Hawaiian music, not much. People would ask me, other musicians who I'd meet, they'd ask me, wow, what is it about Hawaiian slack key guitar? What's the, and I would show them some stuff that I knew, and wasn't really an active player of it until I returned home. When I returned home about 20 years ago, is when I started actively playing more Hawaiian music. My brother Ernie showed me a couple of tunings that he liked, and so I used those tunings and kind of found my way back to the music because it wasn't something that I played when I was a kid. I'm still actually learning a lot more of the Hawaiian songs that I've listened to all my life. I've heard them, they're in my memory, in my DNA, but I've never played them myself, you know, or never been the person singing them. Like, I can sit there and while other people are playing, I know the songs, so I can play the melodies and stuff. And now it's nice. I live on Maui now, and there are a few musicians here who know Hawaiian music a lot more than I do, and I play with them a lot. They show me stuff, and it's a blessing that kind of took me a while to get back to playing the Hawaiian music. Like that song that you talked about, Island Style. I actually wrote it in New York City. I wrote half the song in New York City right before I moved home. My brother used to send me music from Hawaii. All the new bands that would come out with CDs. Back then it was cassettes and albums. And he would send me to New York. He would send me, you know, he'd tell me on the phone, oh, there's this new band, you know, it's okay. And, or friends of ours who we grew up with, oh yeah, they just came out with the album, he'd send it to me. So I would always wait to listen to this new music from Hawaii, just to keep in touch with what was going on with the contemporary Hawaiian music scene. And there was one in particular, this song Hawaiian Style by the Hawaiian Style Band. And my brother had been telling me, wow, this new band is here in Hawaii coming out, and it's got a cool sound. And because reason why I left Hawaii, because I couldn't see the music that was going on at the time. It wasn't resonating with me. So I wanted to move away to find that music that was in my heart, that would that really made me feel whole. And so I was finding that in the blues, R&B, and just learning, being around a lot of the jazz. And when I was waiting for this Ernie to send me this cassette, because he said it was a band that he thought had a new sound for Hawaii. And you know, I remember when the cassette came in the mail, I put it in the player, and I don't know what I was expecting, but when I pressed play, it wasn't that. It was like drum machines, and it had slacky guitar, and you know, I was a little confused, and I had thought to myself, well, what did I want to hear? You know, like, what was I expecting to hear? And Island Style came out. That's how I wrote that song. It just came right out. On the island, we do it island style. From the mountain to the ocean, from the river to the ocean.
On the island, we do it. From the mountain to the ocean, from the river to the river.
On the island, we do it island style. From the mountain to the ocean, from the windward to the leeward side. Mama's in the kitchen cooking dinner real nice. Beef stew on the stove, lonely salmon with the ice. We eat and drink and we sing all day. Kalikookalani in the old Hawaiian way. On the island, we do it island style. From the mountain to the ocean, from the windward to the leeward side. On the island, we do it island style. From the mountain to the ocean, from the windward to the leeward side. We go grandma's house on the weekend clean, yeah. If we don't go, grandma gotta work hard. You know know my grandma, she liked to pour it real soft. I love my grandma every minute, every hour on the island. We do it island style. From the mountain to the ocean, from the windward to the leeward side. On the island, we do it island style. From the mountain to the ocean, from the windward to the leeward side. From the windward to the leeward side. From the mountain to the ocean, from the windward to the leeward side.
From the mountain to the ocean, from the windward to the leeward side. You know, actually, my grandma was from down this side. She was a kid, she grew up in Honolulu, down the road a little ways. And when she tells us she used to walk miles to school every day, that's a kind you gotta believe it, you know? And then as far as the reason, a lot of reasons why you should eat sour poi. You know what I mean? For one, I think you all know. For two, there's a lot of probiotic qualities in your poi. We never knew that. All we knew was eat them, the thing good. But come to find out, there's a lot of healing properties in the poi. The sour, especially. The more sour it gets, the better it is for you. Another reason why you should eat sour poi is a lot of work went into growing that taro, pounding them, and getting them to your table. So no waste them. My grandma had the rotating poi line, you know what I mean? When you brought poi to her house, it went all the way to the back of the line on the counter. The big poi bowls in the front, bubbling for sure. And then different degrees of new poi. As farther you went back in the line, the newer the poi got, fresher the poi got. Yeah. And then, of course, the one incident, the poi incident up in Papakolea, we refer to it as the incident. You're not supposed to cover the poi bowl, you know what I mean? Tight. You're supposed to put the Tupperware cover tight. You're supposed to leave them loose. Apparently, my brother Ernie went tighten that bugger right up. He went to sleep downstairs. Sometime about 4 or 5 in the morning, he heard a big explosion. Kaboom! Ran upstairs. Whoa! Grandma was in the kitchen scooping up poi on the ground. Poi was everywhere, all on the walls and everything. Ernie was like, "Oh, Grandma, sorry." Scooping up the poi, throwing them in the sink, washing them. So she said, "Hey, it's still good." She scooping them back in the poi, in the bowl. On the island, we do it island style. From the mountain to the ocean, from the river to the leeward side. On the island, we do it island style. From the mountain to the ocean, from the river to the leeward side. From the mountain to the ocean, from the river to the leeward side. From the mountain to the ocean, from the river to the leeward side. And then
just started thinking about what it is about Hawaii that is in me, being so far away from home. And you know, a lot of Hawaiian music has a history of writing about places, about flowers in a certain place or trees from a certain place. It's a place thing. Because the language wasn't written down, a lot of the songs and the mele were describing everyday things and places, you know, so that you could tell someone. If someone had never been to Hana, you would sing them a song, and the song would talk about the flowers there, the trees, how the wind came through the trees, what was special about it and stuff. And while I was on the mainland, people used to ask me all the time, what are you living here for? Hawaii's so beautiful, you know, the mountains and the trees. And I was thinking, when I was missing Hawaii, I was thinking, what did I miss? It wasn't the trees and the mountains and stuff and the ocean. It was my mom, you know, and my just old memories from when I was small, you know. And that was mom in the kitchen cooking, and us just sort of singing around the living room. And so then when I came home, right after I wrote the song, I had come back home actually. And I had half the song written. And after I came home, my brother Ernie one morning, he showed me this tuning. And he showed me a tuning, and he showed me the little turnaround. Let me show you the little bit of a. So here's your C chord, and tune this down. So you have your C chord without having to make that bass tone. And that's basically the essence of slack key, is being able to play the bass line. And play the little melody at the same time. So he showed me this tuning, and he left for work. So I sat around with that tuning, and I had the first verse for Island Style and the chorus. And so by the time he came home from work, I wrote the grandma verse. And when he came home, I said, Ern, check it out. Played him the song, and he was like, oh, wow. And that was sort of my, that song actually really brought me back into playing Hawaiian music, because he showed me that tuning. And showed me a few of the nuances of the tuning, like stuff like that are typically Hawaiian sounding. Just these typical little things that sound Hawaiian, because we use the same tunings. A lot of different cultures and people use the same tuning, but depending on how you play it, gives you the sound of where it's coming from, yeah? So, like the blues tuning, open C tuning. Blues players use this tuning as well. Just by the way you play it, is going to give you a different sound, as opposed to. That gives it a little more Hawaiian sound to it. So it's really a little story that I was sharing about. Well, slack key, slacking guitar predates the blues guitar tradition by a few years. And I heard a story that Robert Johnson, who's considered the father of rock and roll and blues, the blues form, the rock form, pop rock form, song form, was that he used to play differently. He used to play his guitar differently until he met a Hawaiian man who showed him a tuning. And because once you have that open tuning, it frees up your fingers so that you can concentrate on the stylistic things that, you know, are help define the genre, you know. That's just the way that he decided to play the open tuning. Hawaiian musicians were traveling all around the world back then. This was before radio. So back then, before you had the radio and the phonograph and all that, and the only time you heard music is if someone played it right in front of you. You know, there's no way for you to hear music that was made somewhere else. And at the time, the people who were in power in Hawaii, they were trying to promote Hawaii as a destination. So they hired the best musicians in Hawaii and sent them around the world. The world fairs, all the world fairs back in the late 1800s, all through the years, Hawaiian musicians, they would put Hawaiian musicians on the road with hula girls, with guitar players and singers, and they would go to every little town, all across the country, all throughout the world, and people got to hear music that was not music that, you know, in every little town there's certain musicians who sort of carry the tradition. So when they came through town, these Hawaiian musicians with the hula skirts and the hula girls and this whole new way of playing, they were playing on their laps, you know, and playing slack. It was quite influential for people to hear that. So I don't think Hawaiian music gets as much credit for its influence on other music around the world, because everywhere they went, they were definitely influential, because it was, what the hell is this? You know, I mean, they had and part of it was advertising, basically. The people who had opened up the first hotels in Waikiki were trying to get people to come and spend money in Hawaii. So they started selling this. Look, the great thing about it was Hawaiian music got to be passed out throughout the world. People got to hear it. The bad thing about that was the hula and the hula skirts and stuff like that also got to be passed. So people thought that was, they were getting a misrepresentation. And that's actually still happens to some extent. I mean, since the Hawaiian Renaissance, it's been less so, because at least the music that's getting, hula is becoming super popular all around the world. It's halal in Japan, Mexico, Spain, all over the United States. There's hula halaus, and at least the real stories and the real hula is being taught, as opposed to just back in the 1920s, when Hawaiian music was the most popular music in the world. and the ukulele was the most popular instrument in the world. The hula that was the songs that were being promoted and the hula that was being promoted was very not authentic. Songs were being written by songwriters on the mainland who, most of them really hadn't even been to Hawaii. You know, they'd just seen pictures and were, to some degree, they were part of that whole thing about selling Hawaii, which still happens today. I mean, look at us now. Here we are in Lahaina, and the whales are back. It's whale season, so all these boats are out here hoping to see some whales, and people still come to Hawaii for not so much now for the hula, maybe, and the music, but you know, whales, and just because it's a beautiful place, I guess. But part of that seed in their minds has been planted from generations ago about Hawaii, how it's a paradise. I mean, back when I was in college, I had, you know, classmates who would ask me, what's it like in your country? You know, like they thought we were still living in grass shacks. And I mean, it's funny, I think they were aware that Hawaii was a state, but still it was kind of confusing to them as to like, wow, you guys have McDonald's out there, and you know, you guys have so that sort of that planting, you know, that false sort of reality of what Hawaii's like still continues a bit to this day. Thankfully now, like with the music, I travel around the world playing music. Still not so much traditional Hawaiian music. I play some traditional Hawaiian music, but I play my own sort of take on, you know, where I'm at with music, blending different styles from around the world into my own. You know, what's interesting is about that song Island Style too is I sort of wrote it in a little bit in Pidgin English, you know, just how we speak here. And part of why I left Hawaii was because the whole Hawaiian music thing was happening. And I could see that coming on the scene, and I wasn't that, and, you know, sadly it's grown. And you can hear it on the radio all the time. You can barely hear Hawaiian music on the radio these days. But you can hear the Hawaiian, which is a blend of sort of reggae and Hawaiian and pop music. And it's kind of sad that the radio stations still push that kind of music when they're not speaking like how we talk. They're pretending to speak Jamaican, and you know, it influences the kids and stuff. So it's I think we really have a way to go with the music, contemporary music, trying to get people to write songs like how they speak instead of like how Jamaicans speak. You know, it would be a start. And you know, I've written a few songs recently that, you know, this flag gonna die, this flag gonna, you know, and it's just trying to be. It's a you know, as a artist, professional artist, it's always a challenge to. For one, I have to make a living, so you want to connect with people, and so the commercial side of the music is always in the back of your mind. But finding that balance between something that people are going to want to hear, hopefully the radio stations will play, which they don't really play much unless it's that Jamaican sort of Hawaiian stuff. But trying to be authentic, like I never had a chance to, like I was saying earlier, to play Hawaiian music, and when I was growing up. So now it's like trying to be authentic to contemporary Hawaii, what's going on in Hawaii today, the issues that are facing us, and to just express it in a way that I would express it just talking to you. It's one of my projects that I'm working on. I work with some organizations, most notably Mana Maule. We work with Native Hawaiian charter schools and try to go into the schools and encourage children to have music in their lives, be a part of the educational process, and just encourage them to tell their own stories in their own voices, because it's really important. I think the youth in Hawaii, it's kind of confusing as a kid growing up in Hawaii. In one sense, you're encouraged to know your culture, the history of your culture, the traditional Hawaiian music and stuff. But then on the radio, all you hear is this Hawaiian stuff and stuff that really doesn't sound Hawaiian at all. But yet it's become a part of contemporary Hawaiian culture. And of course kids, if there are a lot of kids who only speak Pidgin English. That's spoken in their homes, it's spoken by their grandparents, and so to go to school and to keep hearing that you're speaking wrong, it can be confusing, like how do you express yourself as a Hawaiian in the 21st century? Of course, we've been reclaiming our language and trying to reclaim our culture, which is fantastic, and it's a process that's still ongoing and faces challenges. And but being just growing up in modern day Hawaii and trying to figure out how to express yourself. We've learned through the courts that you need to know the English language. In fact, in the courts, you need to know legalese. You need to know the legal language in order to get any of these things done. So, we're now at a point in our history where finally we have people coming of age who are graduating from law school, who grew up speaking the language, Hawaiian language, speaking the English language, learning the legal language that's required to continue our struggle, because it's they need to know traditional Hawaiian language, they need to know the English, they need to know Pidgin so that they can still relate to the everyday person that's walking down the street. And of course, most of the Hawaiians are in the poorest communities, with the poorest health conditions, and it's a challenge that I try to address with my music and also with the work I do outside of music. I mean, everything comes from the music, because that's how people know me, is from my music. So if I can open the doors with the music and then help in some way to just help better the conditions here, the overall condition of the Hawaiian people, we're struggling to try to get back to what? We don't know, you know? A lot of people want to get focus on the past, which is important, but I think trying to come to grips with who we are right now, today, in this time, in this age, and being able to express it through art, through literature, through politics, you know, to empower us to try to find who we are and find our voices and try to get our mana back, yeah, our power.
Wow. She's famous, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, she's all over YouTube. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right. Thank you for singing. You gonna play OEVA too? I can try. Okay, you sing. Okay. Okay.
That was awesome. Thank you so much. What's your name? Kalika. Kaliko. Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much for singing for us. You keep singing now. You write any songs?
I wrote
2 songs. Yeah, keep writing. Yeah, we already heard that one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Old news.
Right. Posted a video of her sharing one of her songs, and it just totally went bonkers. Went viral. This little honey right here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there you have it. You know, that's speaks to what I was just talking about. Trying to get the youth to express themselves using a ukulele, telling her own story. She's got a beautiful song about that's posted on Mana Maoli on our Facebook page. She talks about the ocean, living by the ocean and loving the ocean, and it's just the sweetest little thing. And what a coincidence to just have her come walking up, huh? Yeah. But yeah, Mana Maoli, we're a non-profit organization that my executive director had the first charter, was offered the first charter for a charter school in Hawaii. He was 23 years old at the time. And it was a Hawaiian language charter school he started. We also have a Va'a program, a sailing canoe program on Oahu that we started. Halau Kumana is the name of the school. It has now gone off on its own. And the sailing, the Va'a program that we have, is called Kanihunamoku. They've gone off on their own. And so Mana Maoli now focuses on, we have a subgroup of Mana Maoli is Mana Mele, which is the music program, music part of it. So we got a grant a few years ago to build a mobile studio. So we have a Airstream trailer that's totally outfitted with video and audio recording capabilities. It's actually solar powered, and my sister-in-law Kelly runs the studio. So what we do is we service the Hawaiian charter schools on Oahu and Kauai. So what we'll do is we take this recording mobile studio and we'll take it to a school. We'll teach the kids how to use it, and we'll leave it there. We'll be planted there at the school for maybe a month. We teach them how to tell we help them to tell their own stories with both video and audio recordings, so that they can do it themselves and they don't feel like they're being told what to do, or so there's no pressure on what is right or what is wrong. Just do whatever you want to do. And of course, Manamele, we also make videos ourselves. The video that we did of Island Style and OEVA is a medley of both those songs that was just released recently, where we involved all the charter schools, the students in the video, as well as this organization called Playing for Change. They helped us do the videos where you take different, you overdub over you build the video using different people, different musicians in different places, and you combine it all into a song video. That's what we've been doing. We just did the Hawaii Bowl, the big football game over there on Oahu. We did the halftime show. I wasn't there because I was here with my family, but Mana Mauli organized that, and we had 300 students there at halftime singing Island Style and OEVA, as well as a number of different artists. Just kind of trying to empower the youth to tell stories about themselves, their culture, their people, what they do in their lives. And just let them do it with professional equipment, so they feel like it's legit, a lot of with the internet and stuff, which is great, is that you can post something and it's available worldwide. So letting them know that they're on equal footing with anybody, It's important to build that kind of build a sense of worth in the youth, so they feel like what they say, how they feel, is important, not just to them, their own communities, but it's important for the world to take them on their own terms. Some of them. A lot of the artists that we support too with Manamele, some of them are political, their material's more politically based, some of them are more in your face with the politics, some are just Hawaiian music, some of them are more lighthearted, artists, but it's important to get the whole, a broad sense of what's going on, because we're, I said, music can be such a powerful tool. It can be an important part of people's lives, Another project that I work with is the Hawaii Songwriters Festival, where we bring in songwriters from the mainland, from different genres, rap, hip-hop, country, pop, famous songwriters who have their songs covered by, all these people on the radio. And we do workshops trying to expose Hawaiian songwriters to professional songwriters, to help them to be able to write things that are a little more going to be more effective, you know. So like I said, with the state of Hawaiian radio these days, one thing that I'm trying to do myself is, with the work that I do, is trying to bring up, with the Songwriters Festival, is to help bring the quality of the songwriting that's going on in Hawaii, bring the quality of it up, so that people can aspire to write things that write about their situations that aren't necessarily just simple love songs, because most of the songs you hear on the radio, the contemporary Hawaiian songs, are all this really pop love, I love you this, I love it, which love is important and stuff, but trying to bring the I guess the musical IQ of the Hawaiian youth. I want to bring that musical IQ up so that they feel that they can write about more important things. And of course, the better a song is written, the better chance that it gets heard. So I try to do my part by being involved with Manamele, teaching the youth that music can be, for one, that music can be, it's just a regular thing, it's a part of our lives, but it can be very powerful tool. I'm also involved with the Turnaround Arts, which is a program that Michelle Obama started. I have a friend who runs it out in DC. What we do is we try to turn around schools. We take schools in the most challenging neighborhoods. We have schools on the reservations. We have inner city schools in DC, in New York City, in LA, all over the country, as well as schools. We have 3 schools on Oahu. 2 of them are on the Waianae coast, which are challenging, where most Hawaiians live. What the program does is we go in and we teach the principals and the staff at the school, the administration and the teachers. We teach them how to use arts to turn the school around. That's why this program's called Turnaround Arts. And it's been amazingly successful. The program has been. We've taken schools that have been lowest scores, lowest community involvement, trying to teach people that it takes the community, it takes the teachers, it takes the administration, all of us working together using the arts to bring arts into people's lives, children's lives, so they can express themselves. So you teach science using art. You teach math using art. And it's an amazing, because with the public schools in particular, the first thing to go with all the budget cuts is the art programs. There goes the music school, there goes the music department, there goes the arts. And really with the, we're proving with this Turnaround Arts program that it's actually totally the wrong thing to do. Arts are so vital to our lives, It's been proven that people with arts in their lives are happier, are smarter, are more aware, are more compassionate, have more empathy, have a better understanding of. It's just, you know, yeah, I'm so happy to, it just as a musician, to be able to use my music to incorporate it into all these different things, you know. Turnaround arts, manamele, these are things that I'm super passionate about. Because I know what art did for me. You know, I grew up in the projects, single mom, on welfare, with a bunch of kids. The odds weren't very good for me to even be alive. A lot of my friends who I grew up with are dead or in jail, and have been in jail for decades. Substance abuse, crime, and those are issues that face the Hawaiian community because of the lack of education, lack of economic opportunities. So we're trying to, what I've been doing is I've been trying in my own way to help the youth develop tools to help make their lives better, make their communities better. And I found that with the arts, it's just a no-brainer, you know. You get people involved in arts, they love school. These kids love going to school now. These are schools that were the worst attendance records. Kids now love coming to school, staying after school, because it's fun. They feel important. You make children feel important. You let them have fun. You let them express themselves. It's amazing. Also work with Jack Johnson with his Kokua Foundation, doing the same type of work. You know, he's coming at it from a different angle, but the same thing, just empowering the youth to through arts to make their lives better. You know. There's one thing that we can do. If you can make someone's lives better. I don't know what could be more important. You know, one life at a time. The world has huge problems, but one life at a time. If you can change them, we're obviously not getting any. You would think it starts at the top and comes down. But the way politics work these days and the way the power structure is set up, that's not going to happen. We need to take those steps ourselves and work from the ground up to build our lives and build more important, powerful, meaningful, loving lives for us and people of this planet, you know? So I'm trying to do my little part here in Hawaii. You know, as a musician, I'm just so blessed. I feel so blessed that somehow music is, I know music. I know what it does. I know the power of it. I know the beauty of it. I know how it affects people. How I can be effective through my music. And I just feel so blessed that somehow that it's part of my life, and I just try to take a little bit of that blessing that I've been blessed with and share it, because I know how powerful it can be. I know what a difference it can make, you know. Yeah, I get it. Great people shares great stuff with me about how, you know, they listened to my music while they were in childbirth, you know, and labor, you know, relaxed them, or how it, you know, they were sick and my music healed them, you know, that they just listened to my music the whole time, or a family member was in a coma and all they played was my music for them, you know, and they came out of it. It's like crazy. It's like, you know, and that, I can't take responsibility for that. That's just that's the beauty that it is, you know? And, yeah. So it's, like I said, it's such an awesome thing to be aware of those things and how they work. I don't know how exactly. I mean, you can get real scientific about it, and I try to learn as much as I can about the effects of sound waves on healing, all this kind of stuff. It's all part of the truth, the bigger truth that it just is, you know. It's just the beauty of, it's a beautiful part of life. Music is one of the most beautiful parts of life, that it exists, you know. The harmonic series exists in nature.
Right.
You know, harmonic series is one of the few things that's perfect. The harmonic series is absolutely perfect, and it's one of the few things in nature that is absolutely perfect. You know, you can measure it, study it, it's perfect. And nature, the part of the beauty of nature is that it's imperfect. But that one thing about the harmonic series, about music and sound waves, is it's perfect, you know? Oh, my own personal project with my music, sure, just play it for as many people as you can. You know, hopefully they'll go on the website and buy it, or, you know, whatever. But I mean, just doing what you're doing, I mean, you know, it's always it's interesting because when I first went to college, I wanted to be in politics. I was a political science major. And I thought that was the way to change things. If I really wanted to help this world, I wanted to do work at the UN, because I realized at a young age that in order to make real change happen for people, you have to change laws, and you have to, I wanted to affect a lot of people. I wanted to help a lot of people, and I thought the UN, working at the UN would be the best way to do that. I pulled back from that and just focused on music, because politics were, whoa, it's a whole can of worms. But realizing now, moving back to Hawaii, focusing on music, realized that music can change just as many lives as politics can, maybe even more, you know. So I just continue to, I mean, look at this little girl. It's like, you know what I mean? It's just, yeah. That kind of stuff is priceless, you know?
No, because